So in this video, we're going to summarize everything that we've learned about summarizing a quantitative variable all in one spot. So this is our big working example. So we're looking at how much money PGA players make in a year. We want to figure out how much they earn playing in those tournaments. So I took a random sample of 200 PGA golfers who played in many of the tournaments during the 2013 season and recorded their total earnings, their number of wins, and their age. Well, first, let's kind of cover some of the old terms that we should already know. So first, figuring out the goal. So why were we going out to collect data here? I really just wanted to figure out how much money the PGA players make. So who is my population? Who is the entire group of people we are interested in studying? Well, we're interested in studying how much PGA players make, so we're looking at all PGA players. Who did we sample? Well, I didn't sample all PGA players, just 200 of them. What variables did we collect on these people? So I have their earnings, which is quantitative. I have the number of wins that they had, which is also quantitative. And I recorded their age, which is also quantitative. Although again, our main focus here is looking at their earnings. Do we know anything about when and where the data was collected? Well, really all I know is that it was in 2013. So all of that is the old stuff, but it applied to a problem here. The last thing I'm going to do here is a quick summary. So the things I'm going to look at when I summarize a quantitative variable is the shape of the graph, if there are any outliers, identifying them. I'm going to do center, which for that I'm going to do both mean and the median. And then finally I'm going to look at spread, and I'm going to look at spread through standard deviation. So those are going to be the four things that we're going to use. So let's kind of go back and recap what we saw about the PGA golfers. So first, looking at the graph, we described the graph as being skewed right and unimodal. In addition, we identified an outlier here above that $8 million mark. More specifically, though, than it just being more than $8 million, I know it's actually the value of the maximum, which was $8.55 million. We also have from here our mean and our median. And here we interpreted our standard deviation of this 1.249 million. So I'm just going to take these same ideas that we already saw and put them in my quick summary. So when looking at the earnings of PGA players in 2013. So notice there I've covered my variable I'm interested in as well as my population. From our sample, we found, so I'm just going to do these in order, so my shape, so that the data was unimodal and skewed right. We did have an outlier, which was our maximum value. And I'm just going to give the approximate amount instead of giving every little dollar. It's about $8.5 million. So I have shape covered as well as my outliers. Now I'm going to go into my center by looking at the mean and the median. So the mean earnings were about $1.26 million. And I'm not just going to state the median, I'm going to interpret the median. So with half, because that's what the median does, is cuts our data in half. So half of them had earnings less than our median, which was $831,089. And again, I'm just getting that from our StatCrunch output here that we have. So now we have center covered. I could have also said half of them had earnings more than this number as well, since the data set is cut in half by the median, so half's below it and half is above it. So that would be perfectly fine as well. Then finally, with our standard deviation, we can say that our typical player had earnings between $14,129 and $2,512,307. Now just a reminder of where we got those numbers from. So that was in our video on spread, where we drew this little line. Standard deviation is the typical distance from the mean. So I start at the mean that we have up here. Then I take my standard deviation and go that distance in both directions. So I subtract it off to go to the left. So that's where the $14,129 came from. And added it to go to the right there to get that $2.512 million that we saw. So that's an example fully going through how to summarize a quantitative variable.